Hey everyone, you can see me anyway. It's just that this is not about football, films, or anything else. History, or well, it will be. It will be about history, really. You know, when you go back and we have a look at what's happening in the world today. Edward, hello Frank, hello Edward. The prize, Callum, hello, hello, KP, hello. That's lovely. Anyway, you're on there, which is great. And you're all recognising one another, which is smashing, to be honest, because we've got things going on in the world today, and I have to be very careful what I say. But it's not going to be innuendo either. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be any sort of innuendo, to be honest. It's going to be what's happening. What's happening? What's the causes? And the two of the main sticking points tonight. If I'd love you. I'd really love you to comment, because you're intelligent people. You know what's going on, whether you agree or disagree and whatever. It's all about opinions. It's all about what you know and what I know. Just a moment, please. Just a moment. That's better. Yeah, it's all about what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Ukraine. Why did Russia go into Ukraine? Do you know the story about that? Do you read the Western press, the Western narrative? Do you read or do you listen to the media, TV? Because I've been listening to them, and honestly, they've got it wrong. I don't know why they're feeding propaganda. It's as simple as that. It's propaganda. Honestly, it really is. And what you've got this. Just let me put this on a moment. Just let me put this on a moment. Just bear with me. Trying to get me little marker here. You've got this. Yeah, you're there. You've got all this. Just look at this all around here. From Libya, right up. Not about Saudi. Iraq, Iran, Syria there. Turkey. Right? But these are the most probable ones. Here, which is the Lebanon. And this is a map. This is a map. And see where it's got Palestine there? And Israel here? And Jordan? Just look at all those around there. And this is where the problems lie. This is where the problems lie. And you've got to ask yourself, well, who's to blame for all this? Why can't people live in harmony? There are two wars going on. Really, there are two wars going on today. And there's going to be lots involved. I've got to be honest, we're on the precipice of a nuclear war. The precipice of a nuclear war, which will finish everybody. If you go back to 1945 and Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those bombs that took out those two cities, those two bombs, atom bombs, these are devastatingly worse what we have today, devastatingly worse. And don't forget, bombs don't fall on the ground. These things, they don't hit the ground and explode. They explode in mid-air, and that's where you get the vacuum. But these are much, but believe me, my advice is to watch a film that was made in 1983 called The Day After. The Day After. And that particular day after is horrendous. It really is. But from 1983 and what they're portraying, which is frightening, is far worse than what could happen today. Far worse. So let's begin. Let's begin with these two wars that's going on. Let's begin with the first one. The first one. Because the Israeli one only started last October. October the 7th. And there was propaganda and everything all about it. I'll just, a good point here actually, just bear with me, and it's what KP said. The mainstream press are controlled by a very big concern that dictates what it can put out. You are spot on, KP. You're spot on because it's everything that you watch. You know, from films to everything. To everything. If you watch a film today and it's about intrigue and spying and whatever, it's always Russia. It's always Russia. There's always an element of Russia in it for some reason. And the Pride says, it's this about the world or politics. What's the context, Frank? It's what's going on. If you just bear out with me, Callum, if you just bear out with me, you know, the context is about what's going on today. What's going on today? What's going on in the Middle East? What's going on in Ukraine? Where does it start from? This is what I'm saying. Lots of people haven't a clue. I talk to people. You know, I do talk to people. You know, not just on podcasts or anything. I do talk to them. And they have no idea. Honestly, they have no idea. I'll give you an example. One lad was calling the Russians for everything. Everything. And this man is a grown man. He's not a kid. He's a grown man. And I said, have you got any idea why? No, you know, because he said it. I said, oh, they invaded Ukraine, you know what I mean? And bombing everywhere and bombing civilians. And I said, oh, right, you know, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were bombing civilians. He said, oh, why? Yeah. So I let him talk. I just let him carry on talking. I said, where'd you find all this out? He said, in the papers and on the telly. I said, all right, okay. Okay. Yeah, you know, that's fine. I said, so why did they go into Ukraine, Russia then? Because they hate the Ukrainians. I said, oh, okay. And I asked one simple question. I said, have you ever heard of Victoria Nuland? And he said, no, well, who's she? I said, okay, okay. And once you asked that, they just haven't a clue. Oh, there's the red. I Frank need more truth streams, but most are too brainwashed or scared to speak the truth. Hit the like for our Frank peeps. He deserves more subs and likes. And red, yeah. And do you know who built them? Red, do you know who built those biolabs in Ukraine? Have a guess. And do you know what? His initials is HB. HB built those biolabs. And I always remember when the Russians first went in, I seen film of them, these Ukrainian soldiers and a few civilians grabbing, all papers out of this biolab, grabbing them all. Because who was instrumental in those biolabs was Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden. Oh, there's Myra. Oh, Myra. Hi, everyone, and Frank. Hiya, Myra. Because Myra and myself, go on these streams. But I was saying to Myra, I don't think I think she left. the stream, my pod the other night, and I said it's the unfortunate thing with the streams we go on, there are clicks, which we follow the same thing as well. But there are too many clicks. You say hello to someone, they ignore you, but if anyone else says hello to them, oh, yeah, what? So, and Sideline says, big up Frank and chat. And Red says, don't US own the biolabs in Ukraine? That's what I've just said. And who was instrumental was Biden. Hunter. Because when he got back to States, and everyone's saying hello to him, hello, Myra says Red Jew. You'll have to tell Myra what happened to you, Red, honestly. You'll have to tell her, mate. And Tamer. Who's Tamer? I haven't seen a Tamer on here. And Myra replies to the Red. Sideline. Hi, Red. Here's me friend. Any chance you're sending over your private jet to me, Frank? No, Myra Page has got it. Myra's got it. But anyway, I just want to explain. All right. Sideline says, that's me. That's me. That's me. Oh, okay. Sideline. And Sean's in Dublin Airport. KP says the West always makes out the Russians have an agenda. Yes. Now it's China as well, and Iran. Iran has never done anything to me. Russia has never done anything to me. When was the last time Russia invaded, let's say, this country? When was the last time Russia invaded America? When was the last time Russia invaded Spain, Portugal, France? When? You could say Germany when they got to West Berlin and they were freeing on the way to West Berlin. They were getting to concentration camps and freeing the people there. One of my great heroes of the Second World War. I love Montgomery. I really did. I love Montgomery. I really did. But one of the greatest of all heroes, believe it or not, was a fellow by the name of Marshal Zhukov. Marshal Zhukov. What a leader to get to Berlin. What a leader. Tell you who else was a war hero was Nikita Khrushchev. And Khrushchev, I always remember him saying to the British, and the British were having a go at him, when was the last time he invaded you? You've invaded our country when they invaded Crimea in 1854. Crimean War. And you get this. Anyway, I'm going to say, some of you may know, I hope you do, and to some who don't know, I'm going to tell you why Russia went into Ukraine in February 2022. And it was this. You've got to go back to, like, say, 2008 with, there was a Maidan thing, not a Maidan, sorry, a Minsk agreement that was saying, there's no more going forward with NATO. You've got to look at the plans of NATO. Just look at a map of NATO and where they are today. NATO was formed for the North Atlantic. That's all. It's the North Atlantic. And this was by America, by the way. NATO is America. Albeit they have, some officers from France and Norwegian, just a Norwegian fella, Stoltenberg, he's just left. Complete idiot. But anyway, when the wall came down in 1989, the Berlin Wall, Gorbachev was promised by the Americans that they wouldn't inch another forward east. They wouldn't inch. They said, no, we won't inch. And the bloody excuses that came out of America was when they were edging towards the borders of Russia, was that there was no agreement signed. No agreement signed. Pathetic. Anyway, they were, what it is, I'll tell you what it is. There was a Maidan coup, a coup d'etat in Kiev 2014 to overthrow a democratic elected government. A democratic elected government. And it was led by the Americans. A woman by the name of Victoria Nuland, a Russophobe, just hates Russia and Russian people. It was led by America. And the devastation it caused. And they put in, I always forget this fella's name. Is it Poroshenko? I always forget his name. Anyway, he was in charge. And what he said was disgusting. What he said was disgusting. And it was about the Donbass area. Because as soon as that happened, the coup d'etat, and the president fled to Russia. The president fled to Russia, to Moscow, and this new fellow was put in place. and they started shelling the Donbass area. These are Ukrainians, but what they wanted to do, well, which they did not wanted to do, they did do it. They banned Russian language. They banned Russian culture. They started to ban and strip the Russian Orthodox churches. And only recently, only like months ago, start of the year, they started imprisoning priests, nuns, you name it, they started imprisoning Russian Orthodox. This is what they were doing, banning, and this was a Poroshenko. This fella turned around and he said, our children, meaning, the Kiev regime children, will be learning everything in the schools, while the children of the Donbass will be hiding in basements. What he meant was from the shell. So anyway, Vladimir Putin, he was asking the West, you've got to stop this. This is genocide, what's being committed. You've got to stop it. You have to stop it. People are being killed on a daily basis by the shells from Kiev, from the government of Kiev. And the likes of the Donbass area, they had militias and they were fighting. So it was a civil war. It was a civil war. Remember what Angela Merkel said with this Minsk agreement? She turned around and said it was all a ploy. It was to build up. It was going to, it was going to be scrapped anyway, and the Russians believed us. But we were building a massive Ukrainian army to take on the Russians. To take on the bloody Russians. I just want to go over to see what you're saying, boys and girls. Read you. The BBC, British Bullshit Corporation. Yes. And the sideline says, I'm going to learn and listen. Thank you. Thank you so much. KP, the British and Americans are making a fortune out of the Israeli war by selling Israel the weapons, that is, bombs, etc. And Ukraine, KP. And Ukraine, they're selling them. Well, they're not, they're selling loads over. Oh, yeah, you can have, what else do you want? Yeah. But the Russians are destroying them. And Zelensky's going around begging for money every time. He's had billions. Ukraine has had billions upon billions upon billions. But he's been dipping his hands into it. He's the most corrupt. I don't call him a leader because his presidency is now defunct. He should have had elections, I think, last March, and he wouldn't have them. Because he was afraid that he'd be thrown out. And the Pride says, are the US and UK together or are we closer? No. We're together. Anything that America does, we wag our tail and follow them. We wag the tail. And Perez says, thank you. Frank is a great teacher and he knows his history. Thank you. And he carries on by saying, I trust Putin way more than any of our leaders. All our leaders read are cowards. They're cowards, every single one of them. Every single one of them. Look, no matter how you look at, Ukraine and what the West is saying, that they've only lost like so many thousand men. Even Zelensky's coming out and saying the same. They've lost 750,000. Lots of lads, Ukrainian young lads, have fled the country. They don't want to be conscripted. They've got no army left. And the Kursk incursion, shall I say, they thought really this is NATO's idea, the UK's and the USA's idea. Get into Kursk, and all those soldiers, the Russian soldiers, will leave their, where they are around, Ukraine, and go and out to defeat the Ukrainians in Kursk. Never happened. Never happened. Because the Russians have got the manpower. And what's happening on a daily basis is that the Ukrainians are being slaughtered in Kursk. And the most dangerous thing that they ever did, they wanted the nuclear power. I've got a terrible, what do you call them, on the side of my tongue. Killing me, ulcer. It's killing me when I talk. But anyway, they wanted to get hold of the nuclear power station and hold it, shall I say, for ransom, negotiation. Got nowhere near it. But the other night they sent in a drone or a missile to try and bomb it. A nuclear plant. That's how desperate they are. Never worked. The Russians came out, said there's no leaks, there's no nothing. That's how desperate these are, these people. And someone mentioned about like Nazis. I hate saying that word, but these are extremists in the Ukrainian army. They are the extremists. Horrible people. Horrible. And as the KP says, we are the American lapdogs. We are the Americans. So let's have a look on here, the big screen, about Ukraine, right? So there's Ukraine here, right? There's Ukraine. And the big friend of Russia is Lukashenko's Belarus. Now remember, just a few years ago, the last 5 years, there was a girl trying to take over as leader. They were having a coup, led by, guess who? Guess who was leading the coup? And she was chased. Her and this other one. She was chased out of the country. She's living in Germany now, trying to form a Belarusian government, exile government, which is pathetic. So have a guess who orchestrated that. Do you ever remember this as well? All of a sudden, you're sitting there watching the telly and you're watching the news. I'm going back a few years ago, before all this. And then on the news came the Hong Kong students' revolt. Remember that? Against the Chinese, because they're part of China now. We don't want you, we want you to go back. We want to still be British and all this. Do you ever remember that? Who was that led by? Who got them? It's what you call a colour revolution. But the Chinese just right down on them. Don't see any more little demonstrations now, do you? So, You've got Ukraine here. There's Kiev there. There's Kiev. It's incredible because right around here, right around here, I hope you can see that where I'm going, right around there. The Russians said, do not dare to put NATO there. Do not dare to put NATO there. And then, they had a negotiation all set up in Turkey. Here, in Turkey. A couple of months later, after the invasion, or the special military operation, as the Russians like to call it, to stop the nonsense. But it wasn't nonsense, really, for the people of the Donbass. And they turned around and said, yeah, we'll do that. And that's why Zelensky was elected, because the Ukrainian people, he got in. He was elected on the promise that he would stop the war and negotiate with Russia. Because the ordinary Ukrainians didn't want a war with Russia. They're all Slavs, what you call Slavs. They're all the same people. But anyway, he was forced by the extremists of Ukraine. The Azovs are called. The Azovs. That's what they're called. And he was saying, you better not. But the Americans were right behind. You remember when Boris Johnson went over because they were going to sign the peace agreement, and Ukraine would have had everything. Yeah, look, okay, we won't go into NATO. NATO will not come into Ukraine. That was the agreement. That was all it was. Even Putin said you can join the EU if you want, but don't have NATO on our doorstep. Yeah, okay. And that agreement, that peace agreement, negotiation, was ripped up. It was actually signed, and it was ripped up. It was ripped up. So they just said, okay, and they just carried on, and on, and on, and on. And I reckon that they'll go into Odessa. They'll take Odessa. They'll take Odessa. And they'll take Kiev. Because there's too much going on in the background at the moment. Have you any idea why the Americans want to keep it going? I think it's absolutely ludicrous, myself. My mate's looking in. I wish he'd come on here sometimes. Great historian, great researcher. He's just sent me a message. Wish he'd come on. Anyway, what you've got this massive opportunity going back to March, April 2002. Or 2022 to stop this particular war, And Boris Johnson scuppered it because of the Americans. And as one of the lads said there, the most money being made is by the likes of Raytheon in America. We're making all these bombs and everything else. And they're made up, they're all rubbing their hands, including the politicians. But what you've got in America, the same as here, is what you call a deep state. And they're civilians. And they run the countries. They run the countries. Now you've got the Balkan states. They're held by America. They're held like that. You know what I mean, don't you, when I say that? And they're coming out and going, yeah, we hate the Russians. It's petty. Oh, we hate the Russians. Estonia, for example. We'll go and invade Russia. Estonia, for God's sake. Oh, Christ. It's so pathetic. It really is. It really is. But I'll get back to Turkey later on. I really will. You've got Belarus, as I said. You've got Slovakia as well. Right there, Slovakia. And also Hungary. You've got Hungary, who are, I'm not saying on the side of Russia, but they're not having, Orban, the president of Hungary, he said, this is nonsense. This has to stop. Now, don't forget, there was a Nord Stream pipe blown up that fed more or less the whole of Europe with cheap, free gas. Cheap, free gas. And someone blew it up. And they tried to blame the Russians at the beginning. It was their pipeline. And I thought, what were they going to blow that for? The Western press are pathetic. Then it came out that 5 people hired a yacht, went out and blew it up. Oh, come on. Does anyone believe in this nonsense? I'm saying that at the time. Then they blamed Ukraine said, yeah, we did it. They didn't do it. They haven't got the technical expertise to do anything like that. But remember, there's a fella named Seymour Hersh, one of the greatest investigative reporters in the world today, American, and he just came out and said it was the USA. He did it. My country, he blew it up. My country. And then they cried, oh no, it wasn't. Hang on. Then they started blaming the likes of Ukraine. To take all the thing from away from America. That's what it was, all the blame from America. Because they froze. You've got to look at the industrial capacity now in Ukraine, in Germany. There's Coca-Cola today or yesterday. They've got to stop manufacturing. And I don't know whether Volkswagen is actually moving to America. Volkswagen. So you see, it's shutting down Germany. They were the most powerful economic country in the whole of Europe at one time. Now they're destroyed because the gas, who's selling them the gas? America. Blinken came out the next day, so we've got a great opportunity. This is after the Nord Stream pipeline was blown up, causing a catastrophic environmental thing. Damn it, more so than anything it caused. And where was that little Thunberg? Where was she complaining? She wasn't complaining, was she? She wasn't complaining because she was told to keep her mouth shut. Greta, keep your mouth shut. Catastrophic it was. Because they're all going on about climate change and everything. That was the most horrendous thing that happened, was the blowing of the Nord Stream. And yet, America still doesn't get the blame. Well, we know that they did. We know that they did it. They call you conspiracy theorists, but that's all been debunked now. All through Seymour Hersh, and everybody believes it. Because it's become a joke when the Americans try to say, oh, we didn't do it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And as I said, you're absolutely right there by saying about all these arms dealers that absolutely there are massive billions. That's why they want the war to go on. But why America want the war to carry on in Ukraine is because leading up to the elections next month, the American presidential elections next month, because what they say is any president that is in power now will be voted back in. Will be voted back in. That's why they still want to keep going, because they won't. The ordinary people won't want to go against their presidents at war. That's why. So all the lives of both Ukrainians and Russians, and I'm talking about a lot of civilians here, are being sacrificed because of a presidential election in America. Think about that. Please think about that. Please think about that. It's shocking. It really is. Let's see what you're saying. Yeah, let's see. Red says Iran sent over 400 missiles to the other day and went on the West. Don't think Israel should retaliate. That is, defend themselves. Jewish lives matter as much as anyone else's, in my opinion. Of course. But it's only Netanyahu. Because if this stops, Netanyahu, I'll go on to that if you don't mind, just after this. But that's a very important point, actually. Edward says the media try right Putin and go. The media try to write Putin off, to write him off, by saying that he was sick, he was suffering from cancer, and look at it, pathetic propaganda. See, they wanted a regime change, as you know. This is what it was all about. They thought that they could destroy Russia, but they didn't. History doesn't tell them anything. The likes of Napoleonic War, when Napoleon went into Russia, and he was defeated. This way, you've got Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. The Germans went in. The might of the German army went in there and were defeated by the Russians. And you think that Ukraine and NATO, there's loads of mercenaries over there, in Ukraine, loads of them. British, American, French, Norwegian, Swedes. There's even people from South America, Colombians. and they're getting slaughtered every day, every single day. See what they wanted? They want the resources. They wanted the Russian resources because the Russian resources have got everything they've got. And they just wanted to chop it up, Russia up into like whatever parts. And then they've got it. They've got all the resources they want. It's like, do you ever remember when the wall went down and everyone was made up of Gorbachev, doing all this? First two things that went in, no, three that went into Russia to help was the Americans and the oil and the British. Oil. Oh, we'll fix up all this, these pipes and whatever. Put all this new stuff in. And believe it or not, the British went in with BT, British Telecom. So they were making loads. They were making loads, and the oil people were making loads in Russia. And do you ever remember the McDonald's and Coca-Cola? Think about it. And then Yeltsin took over. He was useless. He was like a puppet. And then when Putin came in, he went, what's going on here? And he straightened everybody out. Everybody. He said, you're not stealing any more resources from my country. He said to the Americans, the British, and everybody else who's having a go at them. It's like, if you see the bank of a door open at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you see fellas all running out, and then there's all money all over the place, sacks of money, and they've got off. And you run in and, you're taking the money, you're taking, this is great, this. Then all of a sudden, someone comes along like a security guard and shuts the door and says, you're taking no more. That's what it was like with Putin. You're taking no more. You're not stealing anything else. Vladimir Putin. Let's see what the lads are saying. Pig Menace. Good evening, Frank. How's it going, my friend? It's going okay. I've got a sort of an ulcer on the side of my tongue. It's killing me. Callum says, will the south of England be bombed because of our gut? If a nuclear war started and Medvedev said this, he's the Prime Minister of Russia. And do you know if he was president? If Medvedev was president, Ukraine would be flattened today. And the West don't think this. They're trying to get rid of Putin. We'll upset the Russian people and they'll vote him out. Medvedev, if he was president, there'd be no more Ukraine today. Guaranteed it'll be flattened. So they haven't a clue. Nothing works in the White House. Nothing at all. Sorry about this. I've got this bloody rash and it keeps coming out on me. Anyway, will the south of England be bombed? Medvedev said a nuclear missile would reach London, and it's more than a Mach 5, I think. Mach 5. Never be shot down, it's ballistic. Would reach London from Russia in less than 300 seconds. So think about that. One of them would destroy the whole of London and parts of the home counties. We're one of the blackest spots, Liverpool. I don't know whether you're aware of that. because of all the nuclear stuff coming in here for these bloody silos that we have all over the country, but they come into Liverpool, Belt Seaford. So we'll be it. We're on the little list. Isn't Ukraine a big money? Oh, it's the biggest laundry in the world. Kitty Wilkinson would be fantastic. She'd be going, oh, this is great. Did I make all this? Did I start all the laundries? I'm being sarcastic as you. The biggest money laundering ever. I've always called it the biggest washing machine in the world today, for the most corrupt country in the world today. And even before then, you had the British papers in 2018 and the Americans and, the Washington Post. Everything, everyone, Daily Express, the most corrupt country is that Ukraine. Shocking place. Leaders are shocking. This is in 2018, 2019. Now they're all going, oh, well, the lovely people. That Russia, awful people. You couldn't make it up. You're right there, Ed. It says it's a big washing machine for the likes of the American deep state, because all the billions going in there comes out, money law goes back to America, loads to the people in power, like Zelensky in Ukraine. Shocking. That's how it's money laundering. And who does anything? Is anybody else accountable? No. But unfortunately, Frank, the brainwashed people believe in the nonsense the Western media put out all the time. All the time. We're not stupid. Ah, there's Gariotti. Harry. Good morning, stroke evening, Francis. Hello, Harry. Harry, it's good to see you there. Harry's in New Zealand. Great lad. Ex-Scouser. Well, he's not. He's an expat. Lovely fella. Been to see me as well. He's been to see. Oh, Myra, I hope you're still there, sweetheart. Just let me. Frank, is it possible that Trump stopped the war in one day? He's good friends with Putin. Putin said that he can talk. Well, he has spoken in the past when he was president to Trump, when Trump was president, that is. And Trump has turned around and said, I can talk, I can have this stopped. And do you know how look, America can stop what's going on today in both the Middle East and in Ukraine. But you've got a fella by the name of Joe Biden, who to me is corrupt. And, the deep state around him, they're not stopping it. And when Trump got in the last time, he got advised by people, excuse me, he got advised, and it was bad advice actually, to bring in as a chief, whatever it was, Mike Pompeo. What a horrible man he was, and I even knew then he was from the deep state, that fella. Mike Pompeo. And Mike Pompeo, he said he was going to clear the swamp. That was his idea, to clear them, get all these horrible people out. That's the deep state. But with the likes of Mike Pompeo, who he had in, he couldn't do it. But this time he will. With this Vance lad as a vice president. He will. And yeah, he will stop it. Because you know what he'll do? He'll just phone Trump up, phone Putin up and just say, listen, and phone Zelensky up and just say, listen, you soft lad, we're giving you nothing else. Nothing, no more. And he'll tell every stupid nation that are following Biden by giving these arms and money and everything else. He said, stop it now. I want you to stop it now. That's what he'll say. So we're in I'm not saying a day, but we're in that 24 hours of becoming president next January after the inauguration. He'll just say it as it is. And from that day onwards, that'll cease. That'll cease. That war in Ukraine. But by the time that happens, am I off? Am I off? Oh, people. I don't know. I'm off. Can anybody hear me there? Let me know. Because I think I've been pulled. Told you, didn't I? Told you. I'm off. I'm sorry. I'm off. Can anybody hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Oh, okay. Thanks, Myra. As long as you can hear me, that's all that matters. But I think they pull me off. They pull me off. Well, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But as long as I can see you, yeah, I can. Midnight, I can see the chat. Yeah, as the red says, can hear you, Frank, but your screen is black. The screen is black. As long as you can hear me, that's okay. I'll give my producer a ring and see if I'm sure I've been pulled. I'm sure I've been pulled. Just bear with me. Please, just bear with me. Yeah, so it's that sort of let me just see. It's that sort of thing when you get pulled or whatever. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is. Hello? No, Jay, it's okay. I phoned the wrong Jay up. I should have phoned Jason up. I'm awfully sorry. I'll give you the ring later on, okay? I'm awfully sorry about this. Frank's panicking, you say. Frank's panicking, fortunately. And as the red says, careful, Frank, they are watching. Yeah, I know. But I haven't said nothing out of the extraordinary. Hello? Yeah, I've gone off, Jay. Now, everyone can hear me and, see the map and everything else. But my screen's gone blank. for them, you know, me, that is personally, you know, like I'm just looking at a little blank screen where it's got Frank and I'm not there, and people can't see me, but they can see, hear me. That's the main thing. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jay. Thank you. Seeing them all. Thank you. So, Jason's, you know, the producer. He's saying just leave it with me for a few minutes and see what I can do. You'll have to start using code words. You're speaking the truth, and that's no to the leeches. Yes. And Jay, the other mate there, says, put your lights on. But Jason's, thing is, you see, with the likes of Putin and what Myra said, would he stop it? He'd stop it. Believe you me, he would stop it. Now, I reckon that the Russians have prisoners of war, and they've got loads of them that's going to go on trial. And Putin's already said, I want them to go to The Hague to be put on trial, but that'll never happen. That will never, ever happen, which is unfortunate. They try to, thanks, Jay. Thanks, mate. Thank you. Oh, they tried to blame the Russians, and what had happened was, it was debunked, and the truth came out that it wasn't the Russians. You go around with Nazi insignias, swastikas. Just have a look at it's good the way they did it. Their flags, they've got like the broken cross, if you know what I mean, you know, like the swastika, but it's done in another way, and it is, and they're all Banzerites, what you call Banzerites, Stepan Bandera, what he did to the Jews, Ukrainians, Russians, dissidents in Ukraine, he executed over 400,000 people, and they today celebrate his birthday every year. Every year they celebrate his birthday in Kiev. Think about that. Just think about that. A Nazi. Do you ever remember in Canada, in Parliament in Canada, with that what was his name? I forget his bloody name. And he was a Nazi. He was a Nazi. A proper Nazi. He's 90 odd, like. And they give him a standing ovation. Hunker. His name was Hunker. That's it. Hunker. I was thinking of the old Hunker. And Putin wanted him. Putin said, send him over here to put him on war crimes against the Russian people, against everybody, against the Poles, everybody, but especially against the Russians. And he said no. Does that tell you everything? I got all made up with Jason. Jason was doing this, I guess. Yep. Big up, Jason. Well done, Jason. Oh, thanks, Jay. He's great, Jason. Great fella. Great fella. But anyway, you know, this is what we have. This is what we have in Ukraine. They went in, I'm just putting this in a nutshell now. I'm putting it in a nutshell. They went in, Russia, it's what you call a SMO, Special Military Operation, to save the people from the Donbass, from being killed. Lugansk, these places around, and Crimea as well. Remember when I said about the Crimean War, 1854, right? 1854. Where was it? Russia. When I've been given history lectures about say like Al Jolson, for example, when all the the Russian Jews were leaving Russia, and you're talking the 1880s, and all of a sudden, they were all making their way over to America. Loads of them came here to Liverpool to catch the ship over to America, the ships. And one of them stayed, well, not one, loads of families stayed because, the ships were full and there was a 6-month waiting list. And one family had a little lad, little boy, couldn't speak a word of English, obviously. The parents couldn't either. And they sent him to a school. The school, it was a Catholic school that brought him in. And learnt his language, the English language. And that little boy, I forget the Russian name actually, was Al Jolson, the first kid or the first person to speak out. Phil, you ain't seen nothing yet, if you ever remember that. First learned here in Liverpool his English language. And they sailed, what I'm saying is, they sailed from Odessa, Russia, Crimean War, Russia. Do you remember Alfred Lord Tennyson? When he wrote about the charge of the Light Brigade, there are two graves I know of lads who was killed in that charge. The charge of the Light Brigade. Do you know why we went over there? Because we wanted Vladivostok, because that was the main port for East and West trading. Everything is based on greed. Everything. You've only got to look at Saddam Hussein. I know this sounds mad, but it's true. In 1956, 57, there was geologists in Iraq. And they went American, there was American, British and French. And they went, oh, look what we found. An abundance of oil that'll last for years to come. Guess what they did? They annexed it. Iraq, they annexed that area. Massive area. And called it Kuwait. That's why Saddam Hussein went in. The first Gulf War. To claim his land. Don't forget that the Americans still hate the Iranians. And they told Saddam Hussein to fight the Iranians. Remember that? 1 million people died in that war. And the Americans were saying, yeah, Saddam has loads of arms for you. It's amazing what goes on with those bloody Americans. Yvonne Rees. Good evening, Frank. Yvonne. Oh, what a lovely surprise. Lovely surprise. Yes, Al Jolson, me mammy. Lovely. Oh, that's lovely, that. Thank you for joining us. I don't know where my little thing's gone again. Yeah, where it is. Want to put this up? Want to add this again? Okay. The Pride says, Callum, that is, don't want to cause controversy, but does religion separate the world? It depends how you look at it. It really does. Look, we've had the problems here ourselves. We've had the problems. I give a lecture, a 3 hour lecture. Well, that's longer, like, but about the 1605 gunpowder plot. 1605 gunpowder plot. Now you might think, well, what's that got to do? A lot to do with religion. A lot to do with religion. And a big Liverpool connection. The 1605 gunpowder plot. You know, Guy Fawkes and all that. Guido. I'm in a documentary on the telly, if you ever find it, about the 1605 gunpowder plot. And that was all religion. You've only got to look at Northern Ireland and, you know, and us, shocking, through the 60s, 70s, right up to the 90s. What was going on? So, and that was part of religion. It really was. Anyway, I'm going to say concentrate now. So, what has happened, in a nutshell, it was a special military operation. The Americans and the West wanted more escalation and more escalation and more escalation, and they've just been defeated every time. Every time. Every time by the Russians. They're fighting. They're not only fighting Ukraine, you know, you've got to think about this. They're not only fighting Ukraine, they're fighting the Western countries and NATO. That's who they fight. They're not just fighting them. So that's how powerful the Russians are. That's how powerful the Russians are. And destroying all the equipment, the Ukrainian equipment, the American equipment, British equipment, everyone, French, you name it, they've all sent these big things or whatever, and they're all being destroyed. The greatest tank, apparently, was the American tank that's been destroyed by the Russians. And he's always having game changes. Oh, this is a big change, you know. Destroyed. Everything is destroyed. The F-16s, sent them over, didn't they? A couple of months ago, they're all shot down. They can't compete. But they want to keep it going. Wait till these elections are over. Right now, so everything is escalating by the West. The Russians, it's a war of attrition, and the Russians are just methodically just destroying them. Destroying them. They got through their defences, and the defences were being built up for 10 years. Very strong defences, and the Russians have destroyed. 10 years defences. And I'm talking about these big bunkers and everything, Solid steel, concrete, you name it. They're not just like a couple of shovelfuls of soil and getting in a little hole and shooting. These are massive things. Got through. Frank, any good sources to follow? Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you in a moment if you don't mind, Edward. I'll give you a few sources, and they're brilliant. Honestly, they're brilliant. The Red Juice says, Callum, the anti-Christian movement is part of the division as well as race. Did you know thousands of churches have been destroyed around Europe and the world? Yep. Yep. But you can get into, religion where, it is a bit controversial. And I'm talking about different aspects of religion. Look, I know there's Liverpool fans on here. And I've always said, I embrace our Liverpool fan base around the world, like you do. What should have been done was embracing religion. You've got to embrace, if someone is, a different faith, let them practice it. Do you know what country does that? Embraces every religion. Every religion. Oh, this is killing me. Every religion. I guess, just put it down. What country? Tell me what country embraces it. Every religion, by the way. HP sauce is the best. Shut up. Because of Ezra's asking any good sources. HP sauce. Jay says Ukraine don't ever want to end this war because if the war stops, soldiers their aid, trillions of pounds. No, it's not the Ukrainians. Zelensky doesn't want to stop the war because he's finished. It's like Netanyahu. Netanyahu doesn't want to stop the war because he's finished as well. He's gone in, Netanyahu, and he's going to fight until the death. And Australia or Russia, my guess, it's Russia. Russia has so many religions and they've all got churches to them, or temples, whatever they are. You get people in this country moaning because there's a mosque down the road or whatever. It's the way it is. The way it is. Ignorance is bliss says, no, it's not. It's not, midnight. No, it's not. Ignorance is bliss. And the Red says, we embrace every religion except our own. Yeah, you're right. You see, there's the controversy. There's the controversy. And it's our own fault because, look, I'm totally, that I'm totally against this establishment here for different reasons. And you get the Patriots, proud of our country. Yeah, great. I talk about VCs, these wonderful men who gave their life from Liverpool for the country. I've written a play about one. I've written a play about a Victoria Cross. Hold it. I got it here. Bear with me. Can't bloody see you. Let me just have a look for something. Yeah. Look. Let me just put me on a minute. Let me just. Hang on, I'll shake it out the bloody thing. See, I'm proud of Liverpool. I'll never forget my Liverpool roots. I'll never forget my Liverpool roots ever. And yes, I'm proud of great people who have done great things, not just for Liverpool, but for the world and the country and whatever. That's a Victoria Cross. You see it? And I give lectures about them. Only Liverpool lads, by the way, who've won 16 Liverpool lads have won that. And that's what I write about. That's what I lecture about. I've written a play about one of them. You know, so, but when you get to, you know, the way this country ignores the rights of the people through religion, and that's the banning. You know what it's the banning of, don't you? You know, the flags, the English flag, and that flag, the English flag, not the Scottish or the Welsh or the Irish. Talking about the English. And that's the Red Cross. And that goes back to the Crusaders. And the slaughter or the ethnic cleansing of the Muslim people, the followers of Islam. So they banned it. They said, no, you can't. That's wrong, you know, because that goes back years ago. We're not going around ethnic cleansing anyone today. But we're allowing it. We're allowing it. How can you sit back and watch the atrocities going on in Gaza? I seen a little girl, film of a little girl, and I was looking at it, and I've got a granddaughter, and you have granddaughters, or even if you haven't got a granddaughter and you've got a daughter growing up, and you know, you're growing up and you remember her as a little girl, a little 3-year-old, with a dirty face, an unkempt hair, beautiful little face, beautiful I'm talking about. And she adds on. I've got a picture of my little granddaughter there, dressed up as a princess from Frozen, and a little tiara, you know. It's a cracking photo, I love it. And she was little. And this child in the rubble in Gaza, walking around aimlessly. With a little Frozen princess dress on. Someone must have said she must have been naked. Said, I'll put this on. And it was filthy. And she was just walking around, just fucking hell. I can't. It was horrible to see that child. And I was watching the George Galway show one night, and I put a comment on. I said, has anybody, she was known as the little princess. And I said, does anybody know about the princess? Has there been any news about that child, the princess? And George said, most probably she's dead. And no one knows. And I've been trying my best. Children, little girls. I've seen some horrible footage, and it's broke my heart. Oh, fuck. I seen a child, a little boy, shaking the mother, shaking his mother. It's only a little boy, he's about 4 or 5, filthy again, shaking his mother. Thought she was asleep. She was dead. We stand back. I'm not talking about the people that's going in trying to save these doctors and nurses and everybody else, who are also being fucking bombed, by the way. Killed. And it's, how can we stand back, sit back and just say, okay, and sell them arms, give them arms? I'm talking about Israel. Let me just go back to, I wanted to say this, to the Ukraine a moment. Zelensky and the deep state here and in America they want to give permission to Zelensky to send in rockets deep into Russia. And Putin came out and said, see, the only way that they can send them is with American technology. American technology. Think about that. American technology. Say like me and a few of the lads decided to go and rob a bank. Let's just say that. Rob a bank. And say it was me, Red Jew, Midnight Toker and Gary Rigby. But we'd have to ask, say, phone this fella up. And the Red Jew was know this. The Anfield Road, we phone him up and say, listen, do us a favour. Can we use your, yeah, okay. You can use this to get in there. And there's the combination, because he actually works there. So we break in, get all the dosh out, get whatever he wants and get off. But the Midnight Toker leaves something that belongs to the Anfield Road. Leaves it. The Anfield Road denies anything about, look, I wasn't you? You were. And he'll get the blame for everything. Because without that red road, nothing could be stolen. Without the technology of America, using their missiles as well, by the way, into Russia. Who's Russia going to blame? The Ukrainians? Killing. They only go after civilians, by the way. As I said before, they tried to bomb, send a missile or a drone into the nuclear power plant at Kursk. What does that tell you? The desperation. And they said, that's a red line. One of your missiles come here. A red line, you've crossed it. That's the end. And he warned them. That's a nuclear attack from us. And the White House, but the deep state still wanted it. Yes, and the stupid fella Starmer and that Lammy, come on. He's thick, that man. Absolute arsehole. Lammy. Anyway, they said that's the red line and we will nuke you. We will nuke you. The Pentagon said to their Biden, you better not do it. You better not send over those things. You better stop it now. Nip it in the bud. That's why. That's why it hasn't escalated up to now. But I don't trust them. I do not trust them. We could be talking here now. I'm not being funny. We could be talking here now. Missiles could be going over from Ukraine deep into Russia. And within 10 minutes, me and you won't be here any longer. Your family, your friends, everybody will be ash. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. There was a message there. Just bear with me, please. Please bear with me. No, lost the message. But you see the way it is. You see the way it is. It's all right, us. It's all right, us. We're talking about it now. But as I think it was the Midnight Toker saying that ignorance is bliss. See, it could be, you could be having a bevy in a pub or whatever. You could be watching the telly, just watching a film. You could be out for a little walk or whatever. You could be doing anything. And then the next minute, you're ash. That's ignorant. That's blissful. Not knowing. But the ignorance doesn't just stem from that. The ignorance is with politicians. That's who the ignorance is with. Politicians. There's a fella in America named Lindsey Graham. He hates everyone here. Hates Russia. Hates Iran. Hates the Chinese. Hates everybody. Because America's great. We're the most powerful nation on the planet. Horrible he is. Horrible. He wants Russia gone. China, gone. Iran, gone. He's time for a war with Iran. And if that happens, we could all go. Netanyahu, they sent in the other day missiles, went through the formidable, as they say, the impenetrable Iron Dome, got through. And they said, do another one, and they'll just go flatten you. Because it was all military structures. But they said next time, it won't be just military structures or the infrastructure. It'll be entirely different. And you will know about it. They've gone into the Lebanon. What's the Lebanese done to them? What has the Lebanese done to Israel? They love picking wars with them, but they're getting sorted out. The IDF, they went on a ground force, they're getting slaughtered. See, this is why Israel are going in, because they want to draw America into it. And if you think about it, there's the Houthis who go around with rifles on the back, on bikes and sandals and turbans. And they're sinking off the ships in there. The Houthis. And they're expecting. You've got to understand that Iran is one of the most powerful armies and up-to-date missile people or country in the world. And they've got a far bigger army than Israel. You've got the likes of Turkey and Erdogan, and he's going, I'm seeing enough of this now. Because they have an army that will outdo anybody, except the Russians and the Chinese, for size terms. They said, do it. They'll go in. I'm made up you said that, I read to you. Even the Israeli people hate Netanyahu. They do. What people don't understand, or what they can't comprehend, I was telling them about a blackout of news about demonstrations by ordinary Israelites. They were saying, we don't want this. We want to live in peace and harmony. We don't want any of this. They got locked up. And it just reminded me of when Zelensky tore up that peace agreement negotiation thing. In April 2002, what did he do? He imprisoned all his opposition, the media. He was supporting other people, They were supporting him at first, but once he turned around, they went like that. Oh, this is fucking wrong, this. You can't be doing that. We're going to go to war. What's the matter with you? Oh, they're still in jail. All the media closed down. And America called that democracy. America called that democracy. What kind of democracy is that? Free speech. Is that democracy? Of course it's democracy. But they want to control it. They want to ban it. They want the likes of me. They want the likes of you. They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip, hip, hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the truth. without the truth. There's not a penny of truth in anything. Nothing. Not. I always remember. I tell you, I'll be finishing soon, people. I always remember when this all started at the beginning. At the beginning of it, the SMO. Now, I always followed for years Matt Fry. Remember Channel 4 News, Matt Fry? I always followed him when he was a correspondent in America, when he was a correspondent in Rome. And I was made up, great newscaster, this fella. Anyway, and I only watched Channel 4 News because they went more in depth than, the BBC and all that. And I never liked the BBC. Never. Not ITV, to be honest. So I only used to follow Channel 4 News, 7 o'clock every night. And then this started, the SMO. And here's what happened. He was standing on the balcony in Kiev. And all of a sudden he went, I'm here in Kiev. Well, where are you, mate? Kiev. So, and he said, these horrible Russians and all this. Right? And he has a lady on the balcony with him. And she was a former Russian member of parliament. Right? And he said, well, why is your country aggressively invaded Ukraine? And she said, it wasn't aggressive. We warned the West what was happening into the Donbass area. So this is a special, and he stopped it there and then, and he went, stop. And he went, I'm not talking to this woman no more. And blocked it. And I went, you prick. You see the two sides. There are two sides to every story. And that lady wasn't allowed to say anything on Western television. And that was the last time. I seen him once on, what was it, LBC, is it? That stupid news thing. And I threw a, you could quote comments. I threw a comment at him. Called him a prick and everything. You phony. He began regurgitating to me propaganda for years. Putin is a danger to the internet. Keeps threatening to cut the cable. The Red says, Midnight Talker, the UN are the main war mongers. They are. But they're not rare. It's America. The UN is America. The UN, look, Netanyahu has committed so many UN things, conventions. It's against the UN convention, what he's done. Has he been on trial yet? Mass murder, been on trial yet? War crimes? Oh, no. James MK, Netanyahu is a full-blown Zionist, like Klaus Schwab, WEF, World Economic Forum, same school of thought. or the Rothschild. This is going back to the 20. Yes. Do you know who else said? And I seen him saying it. I seen him on the telly saying it, not reading it. See, he was saying it, this fella, saying it. And when he was a senator, and I'm going back years ago, and he said, Zionism, he said, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. I am a Zionist, and I'm not Jewish. That's what he said. Do you know who that was? And I guess who said that? I like that. But the victor rewrites his storybooks. Yes, the victor always writes about things. I used to have a book in my library, cracking it was, about the First World War. And it was written not by a German, not by an English, not by who's all taking part in the war. It was actually written by a Swiss general. And it was brilliant. And I lent it out to someone. Never got it back. Forgot who I lent it to be honest. Never got it back. So yeah, you're right. I was reading about this stupid woman writer was writing about Queen Elizabeth I. What a load of bollocks it was. I'm sorry to use profanities, but it was shocking the lauding of this woman. Shall I show you something? Show you this. Yeah, it's up. Locked up. I do a lecture on that. I do a lecture on that. It's incredible, you know, the phoniness of history sometimes. You've just got to go along with what you read. You just got to go along with what you read. Not talking about Edwina Curry, are you? She's Scouse at Edwina. Always remember her saying about the pensioners at the time. And they were saying, you know, they're going to be freezing and, you know, and I forget what it was over. It was like a power strap. I forget what it was over. And she said, let them knit scarves, gloves, and hats. Edwina Curry. Tory through and through. Legend. The guff what the sheeple believe is unfathomable. Yes. I know I'm going to bring football into this, but it's only for a minute or so. When I stopped really questioning the media, when I started questioning them, was right after Hillsborough. And you're a Liverpool supporter, so you'll know why. I've always questioned. I was there. Remember there from a celebrity in 2000. You should get 25 years in jail for that. If I was a judge, I'd go and get you arrested immediately, put you before the bench, and give you 25 years hard labour on Ibiza. Is it like that? 25 years hard labour on Ibiza. The biggest mystery to me is why Frank hasn't got many more subscribers. It's just the way it is, isn't it? You know, to be honest, there are some dopes out there who've got loads, and you know. Do you know? I don't like talking about this. You know, I really don't. You know, other pods. I'd love one of them to fucking come on and start talking about what we know, what we went through. I was going to say something, but James MK. But the people controlling America, the same rich families control the Roman Empire. These families goes back thousands of years. Rothschilds, Warburgs, the Bilderbergs, 13 families control it. Thing is, you see, look, I know what you're saying, but there's rich everywhere. There are rich people everywhere. Do you ever remember that Abramovich who took over Chelsea? And because he was a friend of Vladimir Putin, he was kicked out of the country and his assets taken away. Was that right? Was that, you know, did we do the right thing by that? Oh, shocking. Shocking what the British did to that man. I've got one of the lads on now. Well, you know, he comes on now and again, and James, and he lives in Gibraltar. And I just say, get Gibraltar back to Spain. What do we want with Gibraltar? Please. It's like another country, say like France or Spain, say Spain. They won't come up. But we'd be saying, hang on a minute, that's our place. It was, wouldn't we? Remember the Falklands? Galtieri? Going over, this is our lands, these are our islands. And catch you sent over an armada. Edward, Frank, have you thought about making this a weekly thing? It's up to you. You know, it's up to you, chat. You know, you're great people, and I'm glad you're there. You remember that, because I don't. And but you're right. You know, hello, friend. But crap sells today. Of course. course it does. Of course it does, Red. You know that. The lads on here and the girl, Myra, I think she's gone now. They know the score. They know it. It's not just football that we love. We love our football. And I've always said in the 80s when Thatcher had us like this, that it was the football that brought us out of becoming apathetic. And I'm talking about the city. Just imagine if we had teams like Scunthorpe and Mansfield. Our city would have become apathetic. We'd have had more riots. But our football saved us. Our football. Liverpool and Everton saved us. Two great teams. The Illuminati, James MK, bloodlines on the Illuminati, yes, Frank, lots of the rich. But I'm talking about these people that are evil, psychopaths. Of course they are. Look at that. Look at what Soros. I seen Soros. I seen him in an interview, and I think it was pulled. But I seen him and he sat there like that, talking to this person. He said, "Within 10 years, we will be controlling all the people in the world." And the fellow said, "How are you going to do that?" He said, "With injections." Injecting whatever. Could be the little tiny microbes, these little things, microchips. You just don't know. Within 10 years, he said. See, look, we're football fans, and we sing, "We ain't Man United," all that. We ain't Man United. But we wouldn't like to see what happened to Man United that happened in 1958 or 57, 58, would we? When the plane went down, we wouldn't like to see that again. We wouldn't like to see anything happen nasty. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's things that are just horrible. And Reggie, it was wrong what we did to Abramovich, yet they allow a terrorist leader. He was horrible in Amzu. You're talking about horrible. See, do you understand? Look, about the Russians, but you're right about that Amzu fella. Preaching hate on the street. See, you're supposed to, be loyal to the flag. And he was sitting around saying, "I want that flag over there, pulled down over number 10 Downing Street." That was I don't follow the Union Jack. Please believe that I don't. I'm not interested in that. But it is a man saying he needs to pull down and burnt and put an Islamic flag up there. You see, so that's race hate. But you can't say that because I'd be called a racist for saying about that. Do you understand? So where do you stand? And especially now with freedom of speech, there's no freedom of speech. There's no freedom of thought, never mind speech. Can't even think about it. And Abramovich was in the circle that put Putin in charge of Russia. Turns out, has anybody seen Russia, by the way? Has anybody seen it? Stream Moscow. It's the greatest thing about Moscow. Look at it. And any part of Russia. It's spotlessly clean. Spotless. Have a look at that Moscow. Have a look at the business quarter of Moscow. When I first bought it, I just got it done like that, wasn't I? I didn't even know it was Russia. I put it on and I went, oh, wow, I thought it was Dubai. The business quarter. You know, you're trying to taste this Dubai. Fantastic. And it's got one. I love buildings, as you know, and the Pantheon in Rome that Emperor Hadrian built is my favourite building in the world. And in Moscow, as my favourite modern building. Fantastic. And have a look. And James says it's called hypocrisy with the Chelsea owner. Look at the government there, the biggest. But again, you know, look, don't you think America is the biggest terrorist? They go to our countries. If you don't comply to them, they'll fucking bomb you. Look at Serbia. In 1999, they bombed fuck out of them. Serbia. The Serbians, if they like them. Look at that, what's his name? The tennis player, Djokovic, is it? He fucking hates them. Now, you know, I understand what you're saying, but, you know, is defending yourself called terrorism? Is defending yourself called terrorism? They call them Hezbollah terrorists. They're defending the Palestinians. They're called terrorists. Netanyahu has been bombing Gaza. He's been bombing Gaza, killing civilians. I just spoke about the little princess and other children. Yet they're not called terrorists. And also, Jay says 13.7 million square miles the British Empire owned. That's a quarter of the earth, Charles. Not up for losing anymore. He wants his ears everywhere. Yeah, we were known as the empire that the sun never sets, and it didn't. And we didn't go into places and go like that. Hi, hello everyone. We've come to build your homes and nice buildings so that you can go in and learn, and other buildings that you could go in and keep warm and go to bed and sleep. We went in and fucking slaughtered them. That's how we got our empire. Slaughter. I know. Study it. That's why Cook was thrown in a big pot. Captain Cook. I've watched quite a few videos of Russia and would live there no problem if he could move Liverpool there. Yes. And that's it. a Nazi. Glad you said that. St. Petersburg says IBR is a stunning, absolutely. Yes. The Red says Eminem. The Ottoman Empire was one of the worst ever. Not that any empire was good, but we're not allowed to mention the Ottomans. I wonder why. It was like Slobodan Milosevic. No, and he didn't play for Chelsea. Slobodan Milosevic. And that man was put on trial for nothing. They were subjugated for 300 years of the Ottomans, his country. And you know that they fought alongside us in the Second World War to get rid of the Nazis. And because of all this, he's thrown in jail, put on trial at the Hague. He's dead now. There we go. Justin F. Anti. Hezbollah has been terrorizing their own country and citizens for ages. What are you on about? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, there's something new I've learned tonight. They've been terrorizing their own people. Okay. Yeah. And devastated the country, says the Midnight Talk. Yes. Did. But it's not America, it's the people behind the curtain. All governments are controlled by certain groups. Look up the Secret Society speech given by JFK in 1961, WEF, NWO, and NATO. Yes. And what happened to JFK 3 years later, 2 years later? Yes, so listen, lads, I've got to finish. I've got a film and TV review tomorrow. I've got a TV. Justin, lads, you know, it's a pity you couldn't spell Hezbollah properly. Hezbollah been terrorizing, well, he means their own country and citizens for ages. What are you on about? Terrorizing their own citizens. Oh, I thought that they were fighting the Israelis to protect their own. Where do you mean? Where do you mean? Where's Hezbollah? Where are they? Are they in Iran? Are they in Lebanon? Or are they in the Gaza to terrorize? I'll tell you another thing, my old mate, Justin, who formed Hezbollah. Tell me before I go, who formed Hezbollah? I'll give you a gold star with a little tickle if you tell me. There's no use coming out, it's facts. Lebanese are under fire. Where are you getting this from? You're not looking at the BBC, are you? Come on, Christ. BBC. Not the Washington Post, is it, or NBC, or ITV. Great show, Frank. Thanks for all the work you put in. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you. Hamas were designed by the CIA like the Contras War, Contras War, and Oliver North. Do you ever remember him? Controlling the drug supply. And as the Justin says, I don't know, and why does it matter? It matters a lot. This is what we've been talking about all night, Justin, all night, about certain narratives. Anyway, James says CIA created Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan war in the 70s, of course. Of course. I'm here living it, don't need the news. Oh, right, okay. Where are you living? Justin F. Auntie. Tell me. I know people in this country who was celebrating Margaret Thatcher's, not death. I'm not talking about death. I don't go along with that. But, you know, when she became Prime Minister, while also here were very apathetic that she won, while the others were celebrating. Do you understand where I'm coming from here, Justin? Do you understand where I'm coming from here, Justin? Don't need the news, yeah. Never do I. Justin, truth matters, says the Red Duke. Khomeini created Hezbollah. Khomeini. You're spot on. And you've got the and what you've got Hamas that was created, you're not going to believe this, by Israel. Hamas. Sponsored by America. Yeah, he does. He does. When is he on next? He's on Sunday. If you get a pen ready, I'll tell you who to watch right now. Or you can just, retune this and come right to the end and I'll tell you. Follow the Duran, Duran, not Roberto Duran, the greatest, in my opinion, pound for pound boxer in the world. Roberto Duran, but it's Duran and not the stupid singers Duran. The Duran. You've got to follow Redacted with Clayton Morris every weekday. Well, week evening. And if you're watching the history show or anything, football show, you won't see them because they're on like Monday to Friday around the time I'm on. So you've got them. They've got great guests on. And I'm talking about, there's another fella to watch, please. I watch him all the time. And his name is, it's just called Judging Freedom. Judging Freedom. With Judge Andrew Napolitano. But just put judging freedom, you'll get it. Fantastic. And he has great guests on, telling you the truth. Unbelievable truth. And these fellas are all intellectuals, by the way. When I talk about intellectuals, I'm talking about professors. I'm talking about retired colonels. There's one fella, Scott Ritter, who's a retired major, weapons inspector, ex-Marine. Unbelievable. And because he was coming out with the truth like that, bink, 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 he got raised last month. His house was raised. Wouldn't stop him though. You've got Colonel McGregor, Colonel McGregor, Douglas McGregor, the American. Fantastic. Fantastic. You've got ex-CIA analyst, Larry Johnson. You've got another ex-CIA intel. That's a fellow by the name of McGovern, Ray McGovern. You get all them. It's incredible who they've got. Have a look at Roger Waters. Roger Waters. He'll tell you the thing about what's going on. Have a look at the Piers Morgan interview with him. On the sideline, that's a cracker. That you're right. Khomeini is French and US made. They're all US bloody made. If you want a puppet, I'll never forget when Saddam was just before the war, or it was during the war. I'm not quite too sure now. And I seen these five fellas, Iraqis, and they were talking. They were saying, yes, we'd like to see the back of Saddam and form a government. American accent. I told you I'm Lebanese. Is that enough? That's fine. I support Lebanon. I support Lebanon because I have friends there. Didn't know that, did you? Iran in the 70s was free, then it was taken over. The Islamic Revolution of 1979, says James MK. It depends on what you mean by freedom. I understand that, yeah, and you could turn around and say that they were walking around without these burqas, which is wrong because they fucking were walking around with burqas. And I'll tell you another thing as well. Have a look at Iran today. Have a look at today, James MK. Please have a look. And you see, I got a surprise myself, I'm being honest. And you see them walking around, these young people, as though, in the middle of town. None of all this thing, and, the ababs and yashmaks and habibs or whatever they're called. None of that, huh? Just dressed. So where's the, where's the strain there? Where's the Islamic order there? And these are young people. And I'm talking about women as well, by the way, women with kids. The Midnight says, look up the Inside Russia podcast if you wish to know what's really happening. Of course. Great shout, Midnight Talk. Justin, I don't watch the Western news. Get that through your head. You people actually think you know what's going on better with watching news and podcasts than living a war. All right. No, we've lived wars, mate. We fucking lived them. So don't you come out and say anything different. We've lived them. My dad was a war hero. So don't come out and say live them. We have. Don't support Hezbollah because they ain't the truth. Well, okay. No one support Hezbollah. Support the Lebanese people. And anyone I mentioned before, because before you came on here, fella, I was saying about the IDF being defeated by the Lebanese army. And Netanyahu decided to send the IDF in as soldiers, and they're being destroyed by the Lebanese army. Never mentioned Hezbollah. So roll it in, mate, please. Anyway, thank you, people. Yeah, if you want me to, Alaska's on my pod anyway. On my Tuesday pod. That's if I'm not paying Tuesday. It depends on whether. But I'm doing a pod tomorrow night, by the way, after the game. I'm doing a post match. If you can join me. It's been tremendous. Thank you, Justin. Well, at least, your generation, yes, Frank, but not many in the chat. No, the lads know, and some of them are the same age as me, yeah, Justin. Believe me, fella, honestly. But I understand about, like, young people having a clue. And that's why some of them are on tonight, because all as I'm saying is about freedom of speech. All as I'm saying is about what's going on in the Middle East. And it's shocking. And people are not going to be held accountable for it. And we know who they are not being held accountable. These people being slaughtered. And it's propaganda, says James. They put it on, seeing is believing, or is it? Some see and still are blind. There's a quote by Shakespeare. Living in an era that is governed by idiots leading the blind. Says it all, doesn't it? Really, I suppose, Frank, define what is free exactly. No one can define anything. Everything we speak. Next time, Frank, God's willing. Thank you, Red. Tomorrow, 12:30, then international break. Yes, says the Pride. I'll be doing a pod in the afternoon. About time, about 3, 4, I forget. But it'll be on anyway. I will tune in, Frank, again and join. Thank you, Sideline. If you want to, come on the show with me if you want. Another banging show, Frank, says IBR. The Sideline. I'm due to watch along for tomorrow's game. Oh, okay, good luck with that. No, honestly, I just watched the match. Shout at the telly. Justin, what do you mean by you people? That's a bit disrespectful. Respectful, don't you think? It is actually. I think it's with his English, to be honest. Frank is a boss. I think in another dimension, Frank's real name is Frank Sinatra. Can't sing. If I could sing it. But the youth have been brainwashed sometimes, and you've got to look in the mirror. Be that change. Sees change in this. And the Reds laughing at me. Or laughing at what? Anyway, I am doing a biryani. What you long for? Biryani FC versus Aston Villa. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Great show, Franks. Thanks. Thank you, James. Thank you. And no excuses. His English in chat is good. Yeah, well, I'm just trying to, you know me. And Mark Simons, give Gibraltar back. Give Gibraltar back to the Spanish. Au revoir. 0-2 Liverpool. I hope so, Pride. And tell you what, lads, you've been there. You and KP have been getting the prediction spot on. Hope that's okay. I'm going to leave it with Justin. I explained it, Red Dew. Don't get sensitive. Now you're fighting a war. Shouldn't have said that, mate. Unless I'll give you the benefit of the doubt with your English, but now you're fighting a war. What does that mean? What does that mean? Now you're fighting a war. On the sideline. Good night, everyone. Big up the Reds. 2-0 for Liverpool. Yes. Anyway, love you all. And I'll listen, if you haven't subscribed or anything, please subscribe to the channel. Get the algorithm up there. Press the likes as well. Just before you go, click the likes. And James says, okay, Palace tomorrow, 2-0, I hope. 2-0. I'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully. I know that I won't see you all, but if not, I'll see you all on Monday with the history show. If not, I'll see you on Tuesday with the football show. And if we're playing on Tuesday, I'll see you on Wednesday, whatever it is. I'll see you soon, boys. Thank you so much. Thanks to Jason for getting me back on, and everybody else. Thank you so much. Thank you.